All right, Sammy, we're going to get ready to make a tape. You want some of these? Want some of that? Can you sit? Good girl. Jack, I don't think she's ever obeyed for anything that didn't come with a treat. But she's a good girl. Samantha Jane Thompson, you're almost a year and a half now. Can't believe how big you've grown. All right, well, we're going to make a movie now, so you're going to have to leave because the health department doesn't like it with you in here. Just give me a sec, Jack. I got to wash my hands, sanitize, and I'll be good to go. Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machinery. Isn't it nice we can now say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus. If I'm missing anything, just let me know. But welcome. We're going to make a Christmas tape today. I'm going to make some Christmas ice cream. I'm going to make candy cane ice cream, and I'm going to make sugar cookies. I had a special request for sugar cookies, so I've gone to the bakery and gotten them, and I've gotten candy canes and pulverized them. So we'll start with the sugar cookies because you want to plan your production so you're not always rinsing the machine out. We're going to go from light to dark. If you were doing fruit flavors, it would be vanilla and all the vanilla-related flavors like butterscotch swirl because you're adding the swirl as it's coming out of the machine. Then you'd go to strawberry, blueberry, black raspberry, and then you'd rinse your machine. Well, today we're going to go sugar cookies to candy cane because in our Emery Thompson machines there is very little left in the machine, what's called overlap. It's an incredibly small amount. And besides, if a bit of sugar cookie gets into the candy cane, well, that's homemade. It's not going to, certainly not going to hurt anybody. And it's what you would expect around Christmas time. There's no problem having a little blend in there. So we'll start with the sugar cookies and then go to the candy cane. It's very, very simple. I'm going to measure out my mix. I have a blend here that came out of the cow yesterday and was pasteurized overnight at the dairy, and then delivered to me early this morning while I was sleeping. So this couldn't get any fresher. And it's handy and easy to use. The Food and Drug Administration and your health departments love it because it's handled by dairy scientists, people who know what they're doing. So this is a mixture of milk, cream, sugar, and skim milk. Sometimes they might add a couple of natural stabilizers to extend the life, but natural things like guar gum, which is a gum, or carrageenan, which is seaweed. And so those are perfectly healthy products, but you can't do any better than this. It's just simple and easy. People ask me, where do you get it? Well, you buy it as locally as possible because you don't want to ship this stuff all over the country. And there are dairies all over the United States that produce this dairy mix. If you're in a foreign country, it's still no problem. There are two companies making a powdered version of this. They take the dairy blend and then spray dry it. It's a special machine, and it turns it into a powder, and then you remix it with milk or water. So no matter where you are in the world, you can do this. These are like mini water beds, so they're a little difficult to play with, but you'll get used to it. And let's see, I am doing a 10-quart machine, so finished product, so I want to put 5 quarts of mix in. There we go. Now the second batch, since these are 2.5-gallon bags, I'll just pour it right into the machine. So I've got my blend of milk, cream, sugar, skim milk. Before we came on air, I sanitized the machine. I ran a sanitizing solution through it. Let me get one to show you. This is something that we use and love called Sterashine. It's a chlorine-based product, which most sanitizers are. And the important thing is your health department loves this. They see this and they know that you know what you're doing. So what we're doing is we're putting the required amount of this into a 2.5 or 3-gallon bucket, stirring it up, pouring it in, running it for a minute or two, and then draining it out. If you follow the directions exactly, you don't have to you don't have to rinse or anything. I tend to rinse just because that's what I like to do, so I run a clear rinse afterwards, but it's absolutely not necessary. And in fact, some of your health departments might say you're recontaminating the machine. Being a New Yorker, I like to fight everything, so I say, well, what do you think my Italian ice is? It's tap water. And I've never won with the health department, so just do what they say. So Sterashine is available. You can get a big container like this from us, along with 2 tubes of their lubricant, which, here we go, the Sterashine lubricant. Or you can buy this at a lot of different sources. Just go on the web and you'll find it in a whole lot of different places. Great company, well-known product, easy to use. So I've killed off all the bacteria. I've done my clear rinse that I like to do, and we're ready to go. Always, the last thing I did was drain the water out. So what you want to do is make sure you close the gate. Sometime in your career, you're going to be pouring mix in, and there won't be a bucket here, and the blend is going all over the floor, and you're cursing my name because the machine has a leak. I've done it myself. It doesn't have a leak. You left the gate open because the last thing you did was drain the water out. Make sure the gate is closed. Now we're going to pour in the dairy blend. This is a 10% fat, which is what the federal government says is the bare minimum that you can do, and call this ice cream. Up north, up around New York, where we're from, you might more likely run into 12, 14, or even 16%. We put Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry into business a long time ago, and they're both a 16% fat. It's personal taste, and it's what's selling in your area. But if I was in New York City and you're selling 14% butterfat, I'm going to sell 16%. Not so much because I think 16 is better, but I want to be able to say I'm the richest damn ice cream in all of New York City. Sometimes bragging rights works. So we've got our 10% for a very good reason. Down here in Florida, it's extremely hot and it's extremely humid. And if you go eating a 16% butterfat ice cream, it's going to make you sweat. It could give you a stomach ache. And the last thing people remember is, oh, Steve Thompson's ice cream made me feel ill, therefore I'm not going to eat Steve Thompson's ice cream, which would be fine. It would be more for me. But we don't want to do that if you're running an ice cream parlor. So you sell what is appropriate to the market that you're in. Also, there's a price factor. A 16 is going to cost a bit more than a 10%. So if you're in a low-income neighborhood, you might want to sell a 10 or a 12 so that you can have a competitive price for your product. So the dairy product's in there, and even though the predominant flavor is cookie, I'm just looking for my jar. Here it is. I'm going to add some vanilla. There are 2 vanilla companies that are absolutely excellent, USA, Nielsen Massey and Lockheed. Nielsen Massey is out of Chicago, Lockheed is out of Denver, and I use the Lockheed. I think they're both great, but George Lockheed is the president and a terrific person, and he was kind enough to send me this, and it really is a great product. So let's see. I've got 5 quarts of mix in here. You've seen in the other videos Tie-Dye Jeff. Tie-Dye uses a lot of vanilla. He uses an ounce per quart. That's pretty extreme. But you know what? His ice creams are great. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a lot of vanilla. I'm going to use an ounce per quart of mix. And this is a 2-fold vanilla, meaning that it's twice as strong. And there's just no substitute for a great vanilla. So I'm going to pour that in with the mix. And then I'm going to start the machine. And I've got my infinite overrun control here, which allows me to make anything from homemade ice cream down to super premium, down to Haagen-Dazs style, down to gelato, down to frozen custard. All of them are the same product, but heavier, and it makes a different product. Some people like the Haagen-Dazs, which is very dense. I want volume today. I'm going to give this out to Christmas parties and friends, so I'm going to run at full speed. I'm going to run homemade, which is my preference anyway. So I start the infinite overrun. I've pushed homemade, and now it's spinning. Now I'm going to turn on the refrigeration. I'm going to turn on a timer, which I'll talk more about in a minute, and set it for 8 minutes. Now I'll add my cookies. Let me go get them. Now don't try this in any other machine. Only Emery Thompson builds barrels 6 times thicker than anyone else. We don't stamp our barrels, we form them from plate stainless steel. And our openings are so large that I can do this. I can just take whole cookies and just drop them right in. There's a whole cookie, in she goes. Now the machine is going to break them up, and that's what I want to do. There's 2 cookies at once. This is a lot of fun. And my recipes always have enough cookies so the ice cream maker can at least eat 2 themselves, which is good to know. You're not going to mess up the recipe by sneaking out a couple of cookies. This is, I think it's 1 pound of cookies. Yep, 16 ounces. This is 1 pound of cookies. And I invented 2 terms for making ice cream: fruit flavor and fruit identity. So I could talk about strawberry, but we're doing sugar cookies, so I'll say my fruit flavor is the cookies. In other words, these are going in the machine. If it was Oreo cookies, it would turn the ice cream a nice color, chocolate brown. These won't change in color very much. They'll maybe give it a little yellow color. But when this ice cream's ready, if I was blindfolded and tasted the ice cream, or had you tasted blindfolded, you would say, oh, that's sugar cookie ice cream. The taste would be there. The flavor, the fruit flavor or the flavor identity would be there. But you can't see any cookies because they got ground up. So let me open another box here and show you. Before we started, I took half a box of cookies or a quarter of a box, and I broke them into about 4 pieces and put them in here. So now when the ice cream's ready, instead of running it out of the machine as fast as I can, I'll pull it out a little slower and I'll shake in my cookie pieces. Now it's got the identity. I can see that this is sugar cookie ice cream. So I have the fruit flavor and fruit identity. You cannot do that on any other machine in the world because their barrels aren't strong enough, their dashers aren't strong enough, and quite frankly, they may be Italian made, but they're made of all Chinese or mostly Chinese parts. They just don't last. That's why you see so many of the other company machines on eBay. They're only 5 or 6 years old, and they're already to the point where the owners can't keep them running. The average life of an Emery Thompson is 45 years. That's average. Right now on eBay, it's been up there a long time, is a 71-year-old Emery Thompson in working condition. It will not pass any 2016 health code that exists, but it's out there and it's still running. 71 years old. Now, as I do this, I'm thinking I'm going to add a few more cookies because I've got so many of them. I think I'll break up a few more just so I have it. And if you were in the audience here at one of my classes that we run every other month, and they're free, you'd be able to ask questions at this point. But if you'd like to sign up for one of our classes, they usually sell out about 2 months in advance. So this is Christmas of 2016, and the January class sold out a month and a half ago. We still have space for February. So by the time you see this, it might be too late, but the point is, if you'd like to attend one of our free classes here in sunny Florida, sign up early. Now, the timer. I don't have a sophisticated timer on the machine to turn the machine off. I just lost a sale the other day to a pastry chef who got very mad at me and called me all sorts of names because I wouldn't put a timer on the machine. Well, why not? We've been building them for 112 years. We can do anything we want. We've invented most everything to do with batch freezers. I don't do it because every flavor of ice cream is different. Vanilla might take 7.5 minutes. Strawberry might take 10 minutes. Why? Because strawberries are bringing extra sugar to the formula. And the more sugar in a product, the longer the freezing time. So we can expect that the sugar cookies will take a little bit longer than just a straight vanilla. And if I had a timer that was going to shut the machine off every single time at 7 minutes, my strawberry wouldn't be right, my Italian ice wouldn't be right, my gelato would certainly be wrong. And so I'm not saying that making ice cream is a science. It's very simple, but there's a little bit of artistry to it, which you'll learn in less than a week of what to pull when. So we don't want the machine controlling you. It's got to be the other way around. Also, this machine, unlike any others on the market, is built to National Sanitation Foundation standards and Underwriters Laboratories. For this timer to go on this machine, it's going to have to be NSF and UL. That brings this $6 timer up to about $250. Plus, if it breaks and it's out of warranty, you have to go we have to send in our refrigeration company. We have nationwide service, and we have service affiliates throughout the world. You have to go get a repairman in to get hold of the timer from us, take off the old one, put on the machine. You know, you're down for a couple of days. It's only a couple of days, but still you're down. If this timer breaks, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw it away and go buy another $6 timer. Plus, it's portable. I can carry it with me to another office. When the timer goes off, I know, hey, I got to get back to my machine. If you want, you can use your iPhone or your Samsung if it hasn't burned up and set the timer for a bell to go off. It's just that easy. There's no reason to put that gadget on this machine. You'll also notice there's no water spigot here. Now that's telling me that it's going to be ready in a couple minutes and I should pay attention and take a look. And I see it's freezing nicely. We're almost done. There's no spigot on our machine. You can have a spigot on the wall if you want, but that spigot that some of the others put on, even the ones like with American names that are owned by Italian companies, that's only cold water. Have you ever dropped an egg in your kitchen and tried to clean it up with cold water? What a mess. You'll be there all day. You can't do it. So cold water is useless. And if the spigot goes from here to here, how does that clean here? Or how does that clean over here? So we don't put a $300 spigot on the machine of cold water because it's useless. It will do you no good. You can buy a nice sanitary hose reel up here for very little money with hot and cold water. You can get here and spray it. You can spray here. You can get the nozzle. And if you're making Italian ice, then you buy the white sanitary hose that, by the way, they sell at boat stores. Boat store hoses are FDA approved for drinking. And you can hose everything down very nicely. Let me get this out of the way because we're almost ready to pull this. I've got my spatula. And I can see by the looks, I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. Again, those sugar cookies are adding more sugar to the formula, so it's going to take a little longer. Our next batch of ice cream is going to be candy canes. And there is a lot of sugar. A candy cane is all sugar. In fact, when I go to scoop these two products, the candy cane is going to be softer. So that means it's got a lot of sugar in it. We'll talk about, let me see, is this unplugged, Jack? No. On the next batch, we'll get to a dipping cabinet, and I'll explain to you even though a dipping cabinet is 6 degrees, how there are different temperatures within inside the dipping cabinet, and where to put the vanilla ice cream and where to put the candy cane ice cream. So let's just open it a bit and check it. And it's cutting off like a knife went through it. Look at that again. There she goes. Turn off the refrigeration. If you want maximum air, you can now let it run for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. I'm going to open this up slowly, not full speed, because at full speed I can discharge all this ice cream in about 28 seconds. And I'm just feeding in my cookies. When you're beginning at this, you're a novice, have some extra cookies on hand because you might tend to add too much in the beginning and not enough at the end. So this is going to give it my fruit flavor and my fruit identity. Now this is a one tub machine. 12 quart. The next size up is 24. It makes 2 tubs. The little one over there makes half a tub. Largest, the CB350 is the largest selling batch freezer in the world. And it's very affordable. We have not raised the price on that machine in 3 years. It's still $9,950 to get you into the Italian ice business, or ice cream, or gelato. That machine will do everything my bigger machines will do. They have the infinite overrun control. Boy, this looks good. Now I'm going to make a second batch. So the little bit that's left in there, I don't worry about because it's coated all the parts, and my second batch, everything's already coated. They can't get any more coated. So I will continue to get more ice cream out of it. Again, plan your production so that you're not always rinsing the machine if you can help it. Sure, when you're first starting out and you're testing different flavors, you're testing. One little tip. At the end of the cookie pieces, if this was Oreo cookie ice cream, we're going to have little pieces of white sugar in here. With Oreo cookie, you have Oreo cookie dust. It's dark, it's black color. Don't go pouring it on top of you. You say, oh, I got some cookie dust, I'll just throw it in for flavor. Yeah, good flavor, but if you pour it on top of the tub, to a New Yorker like myself, it doesn't look like Oreo cookie dust, it's dirt. And we don't want to have something that looks like dirt in our ice cream. So that's how to make this product. You can see it was very simple, and we'll go on to the next batch. I'll go ahead and make another batch of sugar cookie because I'm going to give it out to all my friends, and then I'll meet up with you again in a couple of minutes, and we'll start doing the candy cane ice cream. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, contact me direct, Steve at Emery, E-M-E-R-Y, Steve at EmeryThompson.com. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Sammy, come here, girl.